Here we are. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Amazing Skilled Modelers Sunday Hangout. My name is Jack. I'm your host extraordinaire for the Amazing Skilled Modelers Hangouts. And Amazing Skilled Modelers is a Google Plus and Facebook community of skilled modelers reaching across all skilled modeling genres and mediums and to encourage friendships from around the world. And today we hope you will find it to be an important source of information about the hobby, hear about something new, and see firsthand the skilled modeling experience. Joining me today is Jim. He's my usual suspect today.
Well,
And
hopefully some others will show up.
I think so. Sometimes it does. I'm getting likes, from the announcement.
Yeah.
When I announced the link on the communities to join us, I got likes from the UK, but I don't know. It's late in the UK. It's like midnight or something like that. But anyway, if you can't join us on camera or don't want to or shy about it, you can always join us on a live chat, which is open. And so bring your questions, comments. All are welcome today. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment and suggest. So how you doing there, Jim?
I'm doing fine there, Jack. Yeah, from yesterday, haven't got a whole heck of a lot done as far as the modeling's concerned. Front had a bunch of other things that had to get done. But hopefully this week I'll get that programming finished for the servo and get it installed and working. So that's the biggest thing I'm working with on that.
That sounds like an ongoing
It is. It's a big part of it. Once I get the electronics figured out, then I can get back to actually modeling again once I get this part. But without this part, I can't go forward until I get this part all solved.
Well, Bernie and I know how to quit. Yesterday, what I'm referring to, Bernie was doing electronics in the UK for some modelers, and he said he had to put it aside because he was going loopy over it. And I got to admit, I put some of my electronics work to the side too, making me loopy. But you can't get past it. You'll get loopy if you don't get past it.
It'll drive me crazy if I don't got the solution. I've got all the bits and pieces. I've just got to get it all scrunched together.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, okay. Fair enough. But we were talking just before we came on the air that I was kind of shy about some things. I'll get into that momentarily, but I want to show you what I've done. And in fact, Phil, who joins us on Across the Pond, he's from the UK. He wrote a message on. I posted pictures of what I built, and he said, "You did this in the 30 hours. You built it, painted it, and posted it in 30 hours. That's from the Across the Pond."
Yep.
And I said, "Well, yeah, I guess, but this kit that I'm going to show you is consists of maybe a dozen pieces."
Yeah.
The cockpit consists of a flat piece that you would set a bust of a pilot on, and that's the cockpit. I didn't even paint the bust of the pilot's head and shoulders. I just left that out. It's I have the landing gear down.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was not a difficult assembly. It took all of maybe 30 minutes to wash, dry, and prime the parts. And this time I didn't lose any parts. I thought I did, but as it turns out, I didn't. So this is my results right here. And you see, the cover is really kind of unusual. I want to do it up like this, obviously. Oh, there's numbers right here on the front flaps. I notice that. I don't have the numbers on my front flaps. That's just something I should get back to. Then I do have the numbers. 157. The instructions gave you, I think, 3 different ways to paint and decal this. And they said a deep ocean blue. Now, to me, that's a deep ocean blue. Don't you agree?
Yeah.
That's the deepest, darkest blue that I have on. But that's black to me.
That looks like black, but it's the way they've taken the picture too.
Well, perhaps. Oh yeah, look at that.
It's a filtered paper, a filtered picture, so you can't really take that picture as being gospel for the actual color. Because
All
even
right,
look at the bottles behind it; they're all grayed out. So
I just noticed I'm missing the 157 here too, but the instructions did not point these 157s out there. The front flaps here of the landing gear and here on the rudder. But oh well, I'm just going to call this done. This is the first time I used Future Floor Wax, which is now Pledge. If it's on a shiny side, I did let it dry a little bit, and I immediately sprayed a dry, I should say, a matte finish on it. I'll probably hit it again sometime in the future once it has a chance to completely gas out and dry and cure and whatever paint does. But yeah, I think it's a little shiny, but this is the results I got. And I hand painted this. I did not airbrush paint this. It took a couple layers. I use Vallejo almost exclusive. I would say pretty much exclusively.
laid down nice. Yeah.
Yeah, I like their. I love the thing about Vallejo's primer. I love their primer. I really like their primer.
Mm-hmm.
It comes up a very matte finish, and it seems to drink in the paints, whatever you put on it, whether it is the Vallejo paint or Duplicolor, because I've always used that. You got to be sure, you got to let it dry for a day if you're going to use Duplicolor. Make sure all the moisture comes out of it. But it is a polyurethane water-based primer, and it handled the Duplicolor very nicely, which is what auto body, paint.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I did this in 30 hours. It didn't dawn on me. I sanded down the front to expose the plastic because I painted that accidentally. So because yellow does not show up on blue.
Yeah, the problem with yellow is fairly transparent, and it shows your back, whatever you've got for a back color through it. So yeah.
Yeah, it's a very translucent, transparent practically. I did buy a transparent paint just recently. I was just telling you earlier that I did an order with Scale Hobbyists with some, I am buying primarily like I needed a gold paint.
Yeah.
I should have looked for copper too. I think I needed copper, and also primer. I'm almost completely out of primer. I buy the real big 200 milliliter bottles, and they last a long time.
Yeah.
But I sanded it down just to expose it, and then of course once that dried, I went back and hand painted that stripe right there, and that turned out good. The propellers are. This is it's a Vallejo primer. I didn't even bother painting it black.
Mm-hmm.
I did mix the primer with some steel paint. The steel paint's a little light, so that's not a good picture. This is the best picture I have of it to get the prop center.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, I think it turned out okay, I guess.
It turned out fine.
Except I was putting on a canopy and my finger hit the decal.
Right
there. This is pretty much what I did, and I'm going to call it a day on that. So that's what I did, and I also was mentioning to you too, Jim, earlier, because we got on the air a little late, and I wanted to quickly ask you, because I'm actually getting intimidated by the Millennium Falcon. Why?
Yeah.
It's all painted nicely. The decals are laid. Everything looks. I am successful with this build. Extraordinary, being that it's a 300-part build. It's a fine molds build, and I feel very, very. And I don't want anything. I got the last bit to do, which is weathering.
Yeah.
Here's the decal and partly paint guide. There's another picture here for a paint guide, but this might as well be a paint guide too, because This shows you all the elevations. And I was saying to you that I got to break out my double action airbrush to get these nice little fine feathered lines here.
Yes.
For the exhaust and everything. But you said, well, tell the folks what you said.
Well, I said it's easier to do that if you use chalks.
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 Like you would use for a chalkboard.
No, well, artist chalks, yeah.
Artist chalks.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not familiar with those. That's why I ask.
Yeah. So,
okay.
Yeah, so you could do it that way. You know, you buy the chalk stick. You know, it's the same as this up again. Like, yeah, you buy the chalk sticks, and then you just run your knife over it to get some powder onto whatever you're using for a palette, usually a piece of paper, and then get a clean brush, and then apply it to what you want, and then put a sealer over top of it.
Like a future floor wax.
Yeah.
Which I used for the first time tonight, and it's like amazing stuff. It's really fluid. I didn't think it was that fluid, that
viscosity, yes.
With a high viscosity, and it goes through the airbrush like water.
Which is good.
Yeah, and I had the airbrush about 2 feet away from the model, and it laid it nicely.
Yeah, you want it to mist it down. You don't want to put it on heavy, yeah.
Yeah, and it had hitting the model just about half dry, so that's the way to go about doing that. So chalk, and I even said like a charcoal that an artist would use to do like a charcoal drawing.
Yeah, and I talked about eyeshadow too.
And eyeshadow. No, I don't think I'm going to buy eye makeup.
David, he never heard of using eyeshadow powders for weathering.
I might be tempted. Show up on one of the hangouts with eyeshadow on.
It would probably work. There's so many.
Yeah. Hi, Carwin.
Hi, Carwin.
How's it going?
Hi, David.
Hey, Jack.
Yeah, he came in. I'm just yakking away, and I didn't say hi yet. So both of you, hello. Well, you're smiling at least, and picking up mugs and smiling. What's in that mug that's making you smile?
Just coffee. Just to keep you awake for the next hour or so.
That's okay. Coffee would make me smile too.
Just good to be on. Yeah, that's all. I don't get on as often as I like, so and I don't get to see you guys because I'm either in bed or working, so it's just one or the other. So the fact that I'm on now is it's one thing to be grateful to be ill about, I suppose.
That's good.
Well, that's good. Yeah. In fact, today we're not going to talk about specifically modeling per se, but things that we found on the internet, maybe like YouTube, that can play into modeling. And you did scratch building. You scratch built that wonderful shuttle, which I see over your right shoulder. And I hope I'm not going to be censored by saying this, but there's a lot of modelers in a community that have hard-ons for getting that model kit.
I know. If I was in better health, I would probably because I've been trying to do a model for the guys, but it's just been ups and downs really. So. And the thing is, when you're not working, you're not getting the money in, so you can't buy silicones and all the stuff that you want to do because you want to make it as best as possible. That's the thing. Yeah. You don't want to just put out something to people and go and have a lot of complaints about this part doesn't fit this or it's warped or you want to produce something that you're going to be proud of and say to the guys that are you happy with that? So that's part of the problem really.
Do you have anything on paper, like a drawing with dimensions and plans or anything like that?
Yes.
we should talk. We should talk.
Yes, no, I got all the plans and everything that I did and everything. I mean, like, I'm still one of the things I'm looking at doing, because of certain issues that I'm having at the moment. I was going to be moving to Hong Kong, but it looks like that's totally off the books. So instead, what I'm looking at doing is actually upgrading my 3D printer to a better one, which means that I can actually do a larger scale.
Well, yeah, you stole my thunder. You realize that?
Well, I mean, my 3D printer is good, but it's small, right? And look, 3D printing is a great tool, but it's not the be-all and end-all of model building. It's a tool. You just use it for what you need.
Yeah.
And it can make certain tasks simpler, but it's not the the god of model building now.
No.
It's just a tool. And when it comes to like scratch building, there are things that I find it's very, very useful for, and there are things that it's completely not useful for at all. So there's pluses and minuses. But when you come to do a model kit, what's the good thing about 3D printing when it comes to making something like a kit or something like that is that you can input accurate sizes and you know they're spot on.
Yeah.
That's the good thing about it. The bad thing about it is all the cleanup you've got to do afterwards. All the if you've had to have it on supports where the supports have interacted with the model, you're going to get this abrasive surface. You know, and you're going to get layer heights. You layer in, you've got to fill all that, sand it off, or so there's it's not a I've turned the 3D printer on now and everything's good. There's a lot of stuff that comes with it. So yeah, it's so I'd be looking at. I might look at getting another 3D printer. I'm looking at what's it called, CR10. The CR10 looks like a good 3D printer.
CR10 is a very popular one. I know without even having one yet, but I am going to be getting one. Of all the videos that I've seen about 3D printing, CR10 is up there.
Well, there's a mod for the CR10 which allows you to print 0.5 meter by 0.5 meter.
Yes.
So I was looking at that, going, there are things I could build with that.
It seems to be pretty. It's not just for the size, but it is. What I found was in some instances, if you're doing ABS or carbon fiber 3D printing, that it encloses rather nicely because you're going to need to maintain heat and the temperature on the print platform and its entire volume, because if you don't, the ABS cools at different rates and it'll split apart.
You'll warp in at different layer heights.
And so it's really CR10 is what I've been hearing is an excellent 3D printer, but only for somebody who is experienced and knows how to work out bugs or know their.
What I would say about 3D printing overall is that if you wanted a bulk shape, it's good for that. Yeah. If you want something with high detail, no good. I mean, it can do some, and it'll give you some detail, and it'll be like, right, okay, that looks pretty good. But because of the cleanup work involved, say you were doing a small detailed area of, say, like the Voyager sensor palette, you don't want to 3D print that because it'll be a mess. It's something that you will have to clean up.
Well, you could probably print the general shape. For an example, taking your shuttle. We're going to pick on your shuttle because that has just some very primary shapes to it and surfaces to it and so on. It's nothing like the Voyager dish or any kind of like a tank or machine gun body. But if you were to be able to print the general shape of it and add to it by scratch building it, that makes more sense than trying to print a lot of the detail anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to break it down into components anyway. You don't want to print it as one object.
Exactly.
I mean, you'd want to do top, bottom, and things like that. You'd have to slice it properly and so on. But yeah, for high detail work, I would still rely more on doing it physically than leaving a 3D printer to it. You can get resin printers that are higher quality. You know, the laser resin printers.
But they're expensive and they're
yeah, exactly. You've got to look at money cost, because like one of my friends has a resin printer, and his you have to work it out and then sort it out in such a way that you've got to print it upside down.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
So
two, you can only use the resin, the leftover resin once. Once it's exposed and been used, you got to throw it away. You know, where the FDM printer, you use whatever filament you use just for that print. But a resin printer, you got to fill up that whole bowl.
Yeah.
And when you're done, you got to throw that leftover away.
Yeah, and that's what I mean with household 3D printers. I mean, they're a technology that is going to change our society. That's a fact. That's going to within 30 years, the 3D printers are going to be commonplace. They're going to be like microwaves.
Oh yeah.
I think so. And there was a very prominent modeler, and won't mention his name, and I was actually dismayed that he said it. That 3D printing takes the soul out of scratch building.
Ooh, that's a good sentence. I like it. You're right. I think, again, it's a tool. So where do you draw the line? If you take away 3D printer from scratch building, then are you going to take away set squares as well? Because
what it does is it moves your skill set, especially in 3D printing, more to the design board.
Well, this is it. I mean, all the stuff that I 3D print, I build anyway, but I'm building it in CGI.
You build it in virtual, yeah.
Yeah. So I still have to work things out. I still have to do all the angles and everything and work it out and get it to fit and all that. The bonus of doing it in CGI is that if I cock it up, I haven't wasted any material. I haven't wasted, I can just literally go, I'll move the polygons, I'll move this vertex, and I've corrected it.
Yeah.
It's a save. It's not a problem. It's an answer to a problem.
Yeah, it's just a new skill set. That's all.
Exactly, and there's so many things. Like I said, there's so many things it can't do anyway. Not unless you're willing to spend the thousands and thousands and thousands to get these big industrial ones that they can handle, 100 microns of layer height and things like that, which are going to cost, no average person is going to be able to afford those. Unless if you had a business, you wouldn't be able to afford it.
Yeah.
Which is why, you get people who order things from like Shapeways and so on.
Yeah, but they've got a doggone $50,000 printer that's printing that.
Yeah, but you'd expect it to come out good then, wouldn't you? I mean, But for the average filament printer, I mean, when it comes to scratch building, there's still things it can't do. There's still things that you're going to rely on doing it with your eye, doing it with getting materials, select it. Here's the other thing. Look, you see, with scratch building, you can select the materials that you're going to use and a variety of materials to not only give you a different finish, but a different texture to it as well. Because I'm building this now. Let me just show you so you can see. I don't know if you can see it. There.
Oh yes. You did post a picture on it.
There's an immense amount of detail in there, and I mean, I was almost nausea with looking at how many greebles and everything I put in there. I have gone through every bit that I've got and just hacked it up and chopped it up and put it in and all that. It's stuff, and I found that there's stuff in here that I've put in by accident. Yeah. That work, which if I was doing it in CGI, I'd have never put it in. I would have just, but it looks, I mean, it's difficult to see because there's no light there really. Yeah. The picture, the picture that I posted up is a better one. Oh, I've got a bit of.
If you did post pictures on the community. If you're able to share them now, that'd be great.
So look, I don't know if I can. So yeah.
All right.
Carwin?
Hello.
Yeah. Hey, just want to let you know, I followed you on your build on your shuttlecraft, and on a scale of 1 to 10, it's about a 20. All right, you did awesome.
Thank you.
So don't sell yourself short, buddy. You did. It's better than anything anybody ever produced. So you did a great job. So
thank you very much.
We're all very envious.
Well, like I said, if I had to repeat myself, but I did follow not all of your videos, but half of them, and I had to stop watching because it took a long time to wash the green off of my face. The green
well, I mean, again, when it comes to scratch build, like the what I'm doing right now, there's no mystery about it. What I'm doing is I'm building an accurate model of Red Dwarf for Lou Dalmaso.
Mm.
So that's what this is for. This is all this is an internal part of the ship where the asteroid is smashed into the hull of the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one there. The other one is there's another one where it's actually at this stage now, which is also posted on the Google Plus page.
I made this proposal of building the Death Star in Return of the Jedi, and that you're doing that here, actually.
Yeah, well, it's let me see how do you screen share?
You screen share. You go up to the corner where that little green square is on the side.
Let me go.
You go.
You
get that little green square on the side. Click on it. You'll come up with a screen. Yeah.
Is that right?
There it is. Yep.
Yep.
There you go. That's a better view, so you can see, just how much detail I've just crammed in there to make all the sort of smashed decks and everything, and because it's at a ridiculous scale. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I wouldn't have put in there had I done it. If I built it in CGI, there's no way I would have put half of the detail in. It would have been a completely different look to it.
Well, I would agree to this that 3D printing could not do this necessarily as effectively as you're showing there. But certainly there's components that you use there that could very well be.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Again, but that's the point. You still won't. It's not the be all and end all of model building. The 3D printer is just a tool it can only do so much. You still have to do the rest. Just
like a vacuum form machine or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things. You can get your forms out of it, you can get your shapes out of it, but you're still gonna have to use filler. You're still gonna have to sand it. You're still gonna have to clean it up, paint it. It's not something to. It can make things easier in some ways, but it's still not the be all and end all model building now.
No.
Yeah, but I think that comment it's soulless comparison to scratch building. It's like
I like it. I like that. I like it. I get what he's saying, because he doesn't have to sit there. And there's a bit of joy that you get when I built something like this. It's taken me a lot longer to build this, because obviously I'm not that well, so it's taking me a lot longer to build this than it normally would have. But now that it's built, there's a buzz that you get.
It's just like when I built the motorcycle. That was all 3D printed, the parts, but I still had a ton of building and work to do to put that together.
And when it's done, you still got the same sort of like, it's done, it's finished, complete.
Yeah.
And
that's the thing, though. I mean, you did the Tyrannosaurus Rex, the T-Rex.
Yeah.
And you printed the bones and stuff. Yeah, you assembled them. I get it. I mean, I'm not saying that you just have this file, then out comes a completed model. I think that's what we're talking, is not that it comes out with a completed model. You're getting bits and pieces of it.
Bits and pieces. It's no different than opening up a box and a model.
Yeah.
Except
I mean,
we're making
again,
the
you're
pieces.
still going to get the model coming off, and you're going to notice when it comes off the 3D printer, you're going to notice whereby you've had to put supports in, or things like that, whereby you're going to have to go back in and clean it up.
Clean it up,
Not going to be a perfect surface.
Yeah.
Well, if it's not flat, yeah, I mean, it
Well,
would.
no,
You would.
it's a flat surface. It won't be a perfect surface if it's flat. You're still going to get layer heights.
Yeah.
Well, so you're looking for the CR10, and I'm looking at Prusa, the i2.
Mark II, yeah.
I'm not. I don't think I'm ready for the i3. I mean, it's attractive, but for what I like about Prusa, from what I understand, is what is on the i3 I can actually purchase separately and add it to the i2 to make it a 3. I think it has more to do with cost and for the fact that I've never 3D printed in all my life, and I do have a model that I'd like to actually print, of course, in parts, and to learn its capabilities and its
yeah, well, I mean, the first week you start using a 3D printer, the first thing you want to do is test its limits. You're going to see how I can take this down. I've got a 0.2 nozzle on there. I'm going to see how small that can print down in layer height and things like that. But you're gonna want to do that first before you decide, right, I'm going to build this in a 3D printer, because you're going to want to know where your boundaries are. You're going to want to know what it can and can't do. You're going to want to know its capabilities. So you're going to want to do.
That's the whole point. That's the whole point. I mean, getting the 3D printer is because there are some things that I can do quicker, more effectively, more efficiently, I would think. Like drawing a circle, for an example. I don't know how to draw a circle for the life of me, but on a 3D modeling software, and then just print a disc, for an example, or things with measured and rounded corners or whatever, I think that 3D printing would be the way to go, just to make parts. For an example, well, because of what you did with the shuttle is not a good example of this because it does have an interior. You have a full interior in it. And I'm talking about maybe, I don't know, I was thinking of maybe even doing oh shit, what's the name of that ship? It's in the TV show The Expanse. I don't know if you get it in the UK.
Oh, I haven't seen it. We do get it. I haven't seen it.
It's our protagonist. It looks like a missile in a way. Missile with greebles with guns on it and all kinds of little bits and pieces on it. In fact, I think I might be able to come up with a picture here. The Expanse. They just started their 3rd season. I just watched the first episode. Like, holy shit! This is actually this. It took me a while to warm up to the show.
Yeah, well, I've been meaning to watch The Expanse, but I've been stuck with watching other stuff as well in between. So things like Lost in Space and that, which. Yeah,
I'm doing Lost in Space too. So here it is. Let me make this bigger.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So you can do primary shapes from this, like this shape here, and maybe a couple of shapes here in the front, and be able to in the end assemble them, or if anything, create profiles upon which you would lay styrene.
Well, I mean, looking at that, Jack, without the engine bell on it, you could probably print out of one. I mean, you have to print things like the guns off and the little nubs and things like that. But you could probably just stand there up on its engine bell section, take the engine bell off, and just print it out.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. In this regard, being that as simple shapes, you can do that, and even the Canterbury. Which is, of course, now destroyed. It does, too, have these primary shape. It's a hollow ship.
Yeah. Now, you see, that there is one that I would actually say is probably better to scratch build than 3D print.
Yeah, this is what I was about to say. This will probably be better to scratch build than 3D print, that as opposed to something like this. You know.
Yeah.
I agree, and the only without any experience. Here's the Canterbury again as a screenshot. It's a hollow ship. It's a mining ship, I believe, that was destroyed. Part of the scandal and the plot of the story, and that would be definitely something you could scratch build easy enough. But
well, I mean, you could look at it scratch building the bulk of it and 3D printing components.
Right. But yeah, so the only way I know these things is just watching other people do it and see what their limitations are, what they can come up with.
Mm-hmm.
And the two channels that are really good on YouTube that Jim and I follow is the 3D printing nerd, Joel. He's phenomenal. And he does a lot of reviews. He does a lot of testing of things, and just now he's doing a 400% increase in size of a RC race car, and the thing is like 6 feet long. It's ridiculously long, and the pieces are humongous, but they're all pieces. And he's used, I think he said something the effect of 35 pounds of filament.
Yeah, that's pretty well. Yeah.
Well, I would change out the wheels. He 3D printed the wheels, and he even did the bearings out of these PLA stuff, which won't last. He realized that the bearings you could do bearings, and he shows you how to do it. And basically, he's saying that you'd really have to know your stuff to work around the shortcomings of 3D printing. But he was able to come up with some sort of bearings for the wheels.
Yeah.
And he even said that somebody made him an axle out of resin of the same thing. Well, his rear axle, I think it was. And somebody made a mold of it and cast it out of solid resin. And that can be done too. And that's what I think 3D printing is, like you said, a tool. And I can see it being part of developing a master if you're going to make replications of it.
Yeah, well, I was telling you about the video I watched during the week there of the guys building a RC aircraft, and he's building sections of it with carbon fiber cloth and fiberglass cloth, and he's making his dies for the formers for the dies for laying the cloth are 3D printed.
Yeah.
And then laying his fiberglass on top of the die. So.
I've seen that video too, and I'm not even sure where I've seen it. I was uninterested. But I don't know what material he used because the fiberglass solvent or whatever it is that you resin.
Well, you just coat the die. That's all.
Oh, you just coat the die.
Release on it.
Well, okay. Well, yeah. I mean, then make the pieces out of carbon fiber. Well, a lot of RC is made of carbon fiber.
Carbon fiber.
Say that every time.
He used fiber and he didn't use cloth. I think that was the thing that was interesting about that. He didn't use the cloth. He used the fiber instead. He would coat it, put fiber on it, coat it again, put fiber on it. And that just seemed like a very involved process. But then again, his die was about maybe this big, I'd say. What do you say, Jim? Yeah. So, well, anyway, Joel from 3D Printing Nerd. I wish my computer would be quick on the uptake here. And the other one is Maker's Muse. Angus does a good job of really doing. He does. He does these. He does 3D drafting, and then he came up with, like at Easter time, this egg to torture your 3D printer with. And basically, it's an egg, but it's 3 layers, and the internal layers can turn, and then you can turn them that you can see all the layers of that egg. It's actually, and Joel did it too. Joel printed it, and they used the Prusa to do it. The bigger version, I think Joel did on a CR10, I believe.
Yeah.
Whereas Angus, I think he did it with this kind of fiber that's in different colors. So when the egg came out, it was actually striped on the inside and on the outside. It was actually very interesting to see. So, I mean, if you're really wanting to get into 3D printing, those 2 channels would probably be the most help, because they talk to the common Joe who's never done it before, and yet they do very sophisticated type of things. You know, they're not highbrow, they don't get too technical, and they just explain things in very layman's terms. And there are, of course, other 3D channels too that, or 3D printing channels that are of use. Of course.
The other one is Chuck Hellebuck's channels.
There's Tom. Oh gosh, it's some Dutch name. Something very long. Hollander is the only way I can come up with, but it's not Hollander. He too does a lot of 3D reviews, as well as trying to print stuff. Let's see if I can come up with this channel as we're talking here. But I'd like to bring in Dave. I haven't seen Dave in a long time. How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing okay. Been very, very busy with life. I do watch you guys once in a while, but I just haven't had the opportunity. But I've been working on my brass O-scale locomotive. I'll show you what I've got done on it.
Oh, please.
Kind of scary looking right now.
We were talking about brass modeling and photo etch and the like.
So there we go.
Ooh,
we got a lot more stuff to put on it, and then I got to clean all the solder joints up. Like right there, it looks like goat crap on the front of it there, but that all gets cleaned up real easy. They just heat it up and just float it off with a radiator brush. And
that's very nice.
So, and I got, and believe me, drilling those holes out for the headlights here.
Yeah.
No easy task. I use my titanium drill bits, man. Even with those, it was hard to get through that thick casting. And all these, I drilled those out, and these little tiny ones here, those are all drilled out. All the lifting, I got all the lifting eyes on it, the horns. These holes will get plugged because there's so many variations of these locomotives. They all have different things. So these
different setups, yeah.
I got the fans in. I got where they put the sand in them, because your locomotives, they have sanders. They load up with sand, so it drops out ahead of the
for traction. Yeah,
motors, so they get traction on the rails.
Yeah,
and I got some of the MU connectors on here, and I just redid the hitch on the coupler here. I redid that. And then I got this put on, and on the inside it's nice and ugly looking there, but that's it. And then I got this on. I primered it just to kind of see, and then I got it painted on the inside there. It's what they kind of on the EMD, the electromotive division of General Motors. They painted all their inside of the cabs with that crappy looking green color. I got the rest of these steps all done, so I have. All the railing I have to put on it, all the brass screens go in it, the number boards. So when it's all done, all the electronics and everything will be all on the inside. It'll be all one unit. It'll be very modular, and and then the chassis that's got all the trucks and motor that goes up into it, and it screws on with 4 bolts. And then this will be lit. This will have probably going to use probably the hi-hat LEDs, or I might even use some really even smaller than that, like those SMDs. And these here will be bicolor LEDs, or be either blue or excuse me, red or green. So depending on which direction. So like if you're the direction you're going, these actually are green. These little lights here, and of course then these are blacked out here. And then if it's going the other way, or actually these turn red, and then the other way it switches. And then I put all the railing on here, the handholds there. So I've been busy.
That's all soldered, even those little handrails.
Yeah. And it's a lot of work. And what I was going to tell you too, I meant to bring it, but you see how shiny this is right here?
Mm-hmm.
That solder. I was on watching something on YouTube, and because I got so many tiny little parts, sometimes I have to heat the bejeebers out of it. So I got this. It's called ball bearing, silver ball bearing solder paste, and it's actually got silver. Jewelers use it, and it's a little stronger than regular solder.
Yeah.
And but you don't have to heat it quite as hot. And but the flux and everything, it's all in a paste, and when it's bubbling and when it's shiny, it's bonded. And so that's what I'm going to use for that railing, because it's just there's just such intricate parts. And but yeah, so I've been working on it. So,
yeah, stunning looking. Very nice.
I mean that's about 80 hours work right there, just doing this. You know, if you sat down and did it.
Yeah.
Just putting on those little rails and the horns and the fans and all that. It's just because you solder one thing, you got to heat sink it so you don't desolder it and move on down the line there. So
yeah.
Anyway, that's
do you watch any of these model railroad channels?
Yeah, I don't watch any particular one. I just kind of I'll watch when I was trying to figure out on like railing and stuff. I was watching a couple of different ones. This one, I think this guy called the Train Master or Brass Solder Master or something like that. But he was showing how to do railing. I said, oh, good, that's what I need to know. And so and that's where I saw him use that solder paste. And I go, man, that's perfect. So yeah, so it's got its advantages. So, but this is really scratch building right there.
That's scratch building.
Yeah, it is, because it all starts out all flat metal, and it's got little scores in it. You have to bend it, and you have to get your bends right. Then you solder to keep the shape, and then you just kind of build it in sections, and you go from there. And these kits, you can take it as detailed as you want, or you know, like actually I had an interior to go into that thing, but I said, I built the interior, but I opted not to put it in it, because the way that I'm putting it together, it's going to be a bear to get the windows in, because that's going to be the last thing to go in it, is the windows.
The windows, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know if you noticed, I have the, let me click on here. Get it right here. See, I have the wipers right there. Windshield wipers, you see those?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All those, I put all those on there. Anyway, the little door latches, I had to take those off, because when I was putting this together, I go, oh shit, they don't fit on there. So I had to modify them. So I'll solder those back on there. That's the little latch that, you know, this would be your access to get into the cab there, right there. So, and then likewise on the back side too. So, but yeah, this thing right here, this is about 2 pounds right here.
2 pounds.
Yeah.
George likes it on the live chat. Ken Skiffington, who is of course a scratch building master, that I know, to me he's the master. He's the one to follow for scratch building. George, I think is I think of him as the mayor of the live chat. But he likes your locomotive. He says it looks great.
Oh, thanks.
And I have to concur. Every time you do come on, when you do come on, at least you see some progress to the locomotive.
If Ken is watching, his Star Destroyer is not very good. He may as well put it in the post, send it to me, and I'll do a better job on it. That's all I'm saying.
You hear that, Ken? Somebody else can do a better job at it than you are.
But he's going to have to send it to me first, though.
Okay. Okay, but I was saying that, like when I was getting into the 3D printing, and here's another one that I found that was this guy, Tom. Sandlanderer.
Yeah.
Sandlanderer. He also does some interesting videos about a lot of stuff about 3D printing. So these three guys, particularly Tom and Joel
and Angus,
and Angus. I mean, it's a good. I feel it's a good triad if you're trying to get into a 3D printing, performing. I mean, other people might have other channels, but these are the ones I follow. And Jim concurs that at least Joel. We've talked about Joel. He was actually a software engineer for Adobe, and he quit his job to do this full time.
Wow.
And yeah, he's got a pretty big channel. So if he can quit his job and have 3 kids and a wife, his wife works, of course.
Yeah. And Angus is a product engineer.
And Angus is a product engineer. There you go. So get it from the best. This is what I say. So is there anybody specific you watch, Carwin?
Well, I watch every. I try to watch as much as I can. So I'll watch Lou's videos. I'll watch other videos. I mean, it depends on what it is that I'm doing, really. Because like I've got a couple of sort of my model heroes. Then people like Bill Pearson, Martin Bauer, the late great Derek Meddings. So they're my they're my inspiration. So anytime I can get to see videos on how they did, things and how they do things. Steve Howarth is a good one. So yeah, they're sort of like the people that I sort of look towards. Particularly again with Bill Pearson. Bill Pearson is one of these model builders. He works in the film industry. He's worked on everything from Alien right up until Moon and whatnot.
Yeah.
But he's one of these people that he is just completely non-pretentious. The guy has there's no bravado with him whatsoever at all. He is as plain as it comes. He's the sort of person that he was asked, when it comes to airbrushing models, what how do you? And he's like, no, I use rattle cans. I don't airbrush. It's a waste of time. Because you're gonna do your model, you're gonna give it to the people, they're gonna put on the camera stand, they're gonna drop it, and then you're gonna have to walk over and repair it. So and that's how he approaches it. It's like you do what's the best thing to do, and regardless of and there's no. So he's the sort of people that I look towards when I got some time, and it's just that they're really good at. Some of them are, like I said, some of them are a little bit, some of them have a little bit of an ego with them. But the ones that don't will just go, no, do it this way. This is the best way to do it because, of the paint that you're going to use or the material that you're going to use. And some of them are really, really, we're talking top talent people. So those are the sort of videos that I watch. Anything else? I mean, like I said, when it comes to the community building and things like that, I try to watch like DJ Model Works and stuff like that. I watch all their videos and that.
Well, yeah, I mean, DJ Model Works, Dave. I think his it's sort of like this. You've got your cooks, and then you've got the cooks that know how to present their food, and that's Dave. He's a good modeler. But he's best at presenting his work. Yeah,
but I mean, it's like I try to watch as much as possible, but I'm normally got it on whilst I'm doing something. So right. I might see it, but I'll be doing something, so I might miss something, but I'll hear it. You know what I mean? So it's something to have on whilst I'm doing other things. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've gone through a lot of like model videos for things like trains. There's a great one where this guy got this train that he's got the camera mounted on his train and he takes it right around all the track and everything.
Yeah.
So those sort of things are really nice to watch.
Yeah, I don't know if we're talking about the same person, but there's somebody on the Google Plus community that does that, post the videos of his train layout with GoPros on the backs of his trains. And he videotapes the operations of his railroad. Interesting. Yeah, I know what you mean. Sometimes they're pretty hypnotic, actually.
I mean, there was one I was watching not too long ago, which was all about doing rock faces and how they get the right texture to them.
Yeah.
And
this month's Scale Railroad magazine, Model Railroad magazine. His name is Patterson. I can't remember his first. Ken Patterson, I think is his name. He just went to visit a couple of layouts, and one guy had a layout in a basement, and he had no floor space, so he instead made his layout vertical, which is all this rock faces. Is that the same one that we're talking about?
Possibly. But yeah, I mean, he's showing how he develops the rock face, how he paints it, how he, because
yes,
some of them were using castings of plaster castings. Other times it was using like a foam core, to carve it. So there was a couple, but I watched a couple that were actually I actually had autoplay on, so once they finished one video, it just automatically dropped into the next one and the next one. So by the time I finished, I was, watching videos about, what was it? What was the last video? I don't know how I got there, but I think it was a video about Jesse J. So I don't know how the hell that happened. But yeah. But yeah, those are sort of, I tend to, if I jump on YouTube to look at people's videos, but I will tend to, I'll try to catch up with the community and with what everybody's doing. I try to keep on top of, but there's a lot of people posting all the time, so it's difficult to sort of stay on top of it.
There's another, talking about the railroad, there's another guy who has a YouTube channel. His name is Bruce Kingsley, and he has a F3 cab. So when you're looking out the way, I think he was an electrical engineer or something, but anyway, it's unbelievable what he did. But he has cameras mounted on his engine, but it looks like he built all the control panel for his F3, and it's real time. You're looking through the windshield. He has it's like a computer screen outside of it, and you wouldn't know that you were on a layout. It looks so real. And it's got all the sounds, the controls work. It's unbelievable what this guy's done.
There was one that I saw, and I can't remember who it is, but he's a young lad, and he started doing building a town for his railroad, and he was only 12 when he started doing the town, and he's only like 14 now. And the level of commitment that he's given there, and his enthusiasm for it. And he's doing YouTube videos showing this town as it's growing, and like I say, he's only 14 years old, and it's a pleasure to see, because it's a pleasure to see somebody with that sort of level of enthusiasm at that age, really getting into it. And he was talking about the materials he was using. I think he made like all the pavement and roadways out of the paving was done out of balsa. And he was literally cutting up tiles and using it to do the slabs for the pavement. And but he's done a town, and it's expanding all the time. And he's like I said, he's only 14 years old. It's incredible. It's satisfying, it's gratifying to see somebody that young getting into it.
Yeah.
Well, you know why he's doing that is because his parents won't buy him an Xbox so he can play Sims.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's kind of why I did, as a kid, was using paper to build models, because I wanted to, and I never got never. very rarely did I get a plastic kit. And of course, when you get a plastic kit at the age of 14, you're not, I can't say that I was putting a commitment into it as far as getting detail goes, but when there's something
I wasn't. When I was 14, my commitment was throw paint on it and stick it on the stand.
Well, that's pretty much what my commitment was, and certainly as an adult, we look at things a little differently, don't we? The other, I'm going to transition this conversation momentarily, but there's one more 3D printing YouTube channel I'd like to bring up is Matter Hackers. Joel and Tom always talk about Matter Hackers. This is their, and what they basically supply 3D printing. They supply an array of 3D printers at many different price points, and dozens upon dozens of types of filament. Even some of the hybrid filaments like PLA, infused with fiber carbon or filaments that change color as it's printing. So your work comes out with stripes and stuff. So these guys will come up in conversation among these other channels, but they do mostly supplying the addiction, so to speak. Another transforming the from 3D to something way off the rails, I think, Jim and I had talked about, and this guy is the guy to go to for that transition. Bob, who likes to make stuff, he does 3D printing occasionally, but his 3D printing extent is cosplay items as well as practical applications. Like he needed an adapter for his carpentry wood workshop for dust collection. So he made some kind of an adapter for his vacuum system, and it was actually quite interesting to see. Lately, he's done battery holders. He's even done the knob on top of it, stick shift, when it comes to 3D printing. But what his work is interesting is woodworking. And this, to me, has a lot to do with model building. See, he's how to make a wood katana. He does this for cosplay. He supplies that community with a lot of stuff made of wood. Here's his nozzle. Fusion 360, his hose adapter. And then he does Arduino. He does electronics. Mm-hmm. So he does a variety of things, but his main focus is woodworking. And I bring this up because, we all complain about having a fantastic kit and the stand, frankly, sucks. The manufacturers are putting little or no thought into providing with
a good base,
a stand or a base or something. And I know Jim has gone through his adulations of doing bases and shadow boxes and whatnot, but I am too. And yesterday I showed my base for the Falcon, and this is I'll show it again, and it is just wood with masonite, and I wanted this top to be clear with a star field to be backlit, but maybe someday I'll do it. But for this time, no, the model itself takes over an amp of power, so I don't want to add to the amperage, but maybe someday I will. And I have a adapter, wall wart adapter, a couple of switches so that I can control the engines as well as the interior of the cockpit separately. Turn them on and off. And what I use as far as carpentry goes, something very rudimentary. But there's also CNC too.
Yeah.
There's 3D printing is additive, and what's CNC? It's
subtractive.
subtractive. So you get basically a block of wood and the machine carves it for you, whatever you want. And I like Bob because of the transition that he does between a variety of things. He put LEDs in a ping pong table he made with someone, which I thought was interesting. Talk about a boring game. He made it pretty interesting. The other guy who, oh shoot, well, I can't remember his name. I think, let me look up my history, because I did watch some videos recently that he's made. I think he's out of California. And his channel's Woodworking for the Mere Mortal. He's actually an amusing guy.
What's it called? Woodworking for the Mere Mortal?
Yeah. Let's see, where's my history? Where's my history?
It's in the past where you left it.
Yeah.
I was watching a few Johnny Carson clips. Oh my God, Johnny Carson was the best. Gosh darn. There, Steve Ramsey.
Okay.
He'll teach you how to use power tools. I thought I knew how to use power tools. Nope, it's a good thing I got my digits. He's really good at explaining how to use power tools. If you're like totally not good at it, this guy will teach you how to do it. And he comes up with these really simple little projects to do. Even stacking sawhorses or collapsible sawhorses, which you will need. And he showed how he did the impossible nail through the wood trick. Got to watch this video. You'd never think you could do this, but it's actually quite fascinating. Wood chain. He even built a TARDIS.
Yep.
I think that would be up to your snuff. I mean, if you had a garden or a yard, you'd probably have a TARDIS in it, wouldn't you, Carwin?
Well, no, I've already got 3 sheds in my garden. I couldn't fit another one.
And the reason is because you can make your own stands, and wood is something that I like the simple shape of that, what looks like a slab.
You know, this is how my nerd brain works, right? You put up that picture of the TARDIS there, then, and my brain went, "Is that a Colin Richmond or Ed Thomas box? It's definitely not a TYJ Mark II, and it's not a Peter Baraki. It could be a Newbury, but I don't think so." It's like, no. No, it's a scratch. Oh, Jesus.
You get too much Who on your brain there, guy.
It's definitely based on the Ed Thomas box, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm building also, and I hope to be able to document it. I'm going to be building this room out, be more efficient. Because, as Jim knows, I'm highly organized. And I need something that would make me more organized. So I'm going to rework this room and also have it really, really a small little room where you walk in and you can't stop looking. And I'd like to have a room like that when somebody were to come over and say, "Oh, this is what I do for a hobby," close the door behind them and say, "Come out when you've seen everything." Yeah. It's a small little space. That is another thing too. I'm going to bring up the history again, and there's this guy. I think he's German. At least to me, that's his accent. He speaks English rather well. And he actually has a wood workshop in his bedroom. You've got to. It's this because he's limited in space. He lives in an apartment and a flat, and he has this contraption. He pulls it out. You look at it, and it looks like a whole bunch of wood, and he assembles it. Okay, I want to bring. This is actually very interesting. I want to get through all this crap here. Boy, I watch a lot of videos. It's unreal how much videos I watch. Oh my God, Jack, get a life. Holy hell. I go between the hobby to video making to news. Oh, geez. Lately, my big thing was sawhorses because I gave up my sawhorses. They were just something I slapped together to use, and they're destroyed. I used it out of old, really old wood.
That way you posted that video the other day?
Oh, yes, I did post with that thing.
That's that universal sawhorse?
Yeah, well, that was the professional sawhorse that's made of CNC plywood.
Yeah.
They carved it out of pieces. The pieces that it goes together like slot.
Like one of those 3D puzzles that goes together, yeah.
Right. And they showed them as being pretty strong and the like, and very versatile. You can create, do all kinds of configurations with a sawhorse. So it could be a portable workshop, but that's not what I'm talking about. This guy actually had this table rolled out, and he added things to it. He turned his circular saw into a table saw. He turned his jigsaw into a band saw. He had a router component to it. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Let me see if I can.
Well, they say,
I've seen some plans for some universal benches like that.
Yeah, I mean, particularly if you're in a confined space as well.
Warning, this could be mind-blowing. Yeah, it totally floored me. That did blow my mind. In fact, the video is coming up. Now, this is the sawhorse. No, this
is the sawhorse one.
I was going to say, that apartment's massive. What are you on about?
Yeah.
Look at the space. The Sawhorse Pro. I'd have to go for the Sawhorse Novice because I'm not going to jump that old away.
It's nice that you can take it apart and store it away.
Yep.
It's flat pack, yeah. Mm. Yeah, it is just
So you're cutting plywood like that.
That's pretty neat.
I mean, it's a bit overkill to make a stand for a model, but
Yeah.
Well, no, I mean you would use this to cut wood and mill your wood to. That's my point, to mill it. Okay, stop, Jack. Stop.
yeah, that's very much an outside job, though. That's
well,
do that by a workbench.
true. Let's see.
It's good, though. No, I mean, yeah, it's good. It's one of those things that can be sort of flat packed away.
Yeah, because you have typical saws, so you just stack them on top of each other, but they still take up a lot of room.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I'm saying that these are the kinds of things I'm thinking of because I'm wanting a new workbench and something that's more functional. So I'll be cutting wood, I'll be making things to, Jim and I had talked a lot about the types of things that could be incorporated into a workbench, like drawers. You can make drawers. You can make. You had these clear cases that are compartmentalized.
Oh, yeah.
and you put your bits and pieces in there, like your LEDs or whatever else, and they're put away. The thing with me is I have so many things that I don't have anywhere to really put them for safekeeping. This is why I'm losing parts of a kit, particularly something that I've been working on for as long as the Millennium Falcon. I just got lucky. That there were times that I thought I lost stuff, but I was able to find them. But I've gotten to the place where, you know what, I can see it now, that I'm going to lose parts. So I was. Here's the bedroom workshop. Looks like something from a hospital.
Wow. Yeah.
That's like a transformer.
Yeah. I wasn't expecting anything that big, actually.
Oh.
Do you know? I think it is very good and it is very, very clever. But I couldn't do all that every time I wanted to cut a piece of wood. It drive me crazy. It is clever though. I'll give it that. It is.
He's setting up his dust collection right there.
Yeah. His extractor. Yeah.
Oh man.
Wow. A lot of thought went into that. Oh.
Yeah.
It is good because he's utilizing the space that he can work with. But yeah, it's one of the things where
parts, yeah.
See, if you change the dust collection from a wooden base to a bag, it would actually be collapsible.
Wow.
And it'd be easier to set up because you don't even have to attach a nozzle to it.
Yeah.
It'd probably take you a month how to figure out how to put it all together. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah. But I mean, if you're talking about it using an extractor fan for a dust collector, there you're really looking at a bag.
Yeah.
Oh, he hooks up a shop vac. That's what he does.
Yeah.
But here he's continuing on with, he's putting in his dust collection for his table saw.
Mm-hmm.
There's his portable saw upside down.
Yeah.
And his router and his jigsaw work much the same way. And he's got his sled.
There's the fence and the whole bit. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's thought about it. He's if anything, it's slightly over-engineered, I think.
Over-engineered, you think? But the dust collection is what fascinates me. He's got like perfect seals between what he's cutting, and I just think it's genius. I don't know.
Absolutely. I mean, given the environment, because obviously, he has to keep that environment clean as well. So it's because I think if you look behind him, he's actually got a crib behind him.
Yeah, he's even got a crib in there.
So it's he has to keep it clean for a number of reasons.
Let's skip a little forward.
Joe says he can see pieces of that sawhorse getting lost.
Oh, man.
At the end of this video, he's going to end up with the HMS Victory, isn't he?
Makes you wonder.
So let's get a little more forward on this. There's his jigsaw as a bandsaw. I wouldn't even know how to use this. It's just so, it's like you said, over-engineered. This is, yeah. I watched the whole video and I was just fascinated by it. Then it came to joining and sand. Oh, he even had a sander too. Look at that.
Yeah, belt sander.
So let's zoom forward, save on time. This is what he was building.
Another one of them. Is it the part of a ship?
Oh, better yet. After all that work, he's gonna need something.
A running machine.
A hammock.
It's a hammock.
Yeah. Well, wood is our rope made out of? Clever shot.
So after all that work, he made a hammock. That's what I found amusing. He did all that work just to relax.
There's all the wood he's been cutting behind him, look, ready for it to go on a fire.
Yeah, well.
Oh, man.
He bought that hammock from IKEA.
Seriously. So what does this have to do with scale modeling? Absolutely very little.
But we were talking about model basis.
I think it's to prove a point that
we descended down that rabbit hole.
That you can do the 3D printing, the scratch building, the woodworking definitely to enhance your furniture building. Yeah. What Dave is doing. Dave is building furniture. And I said you missed your calling, but now he's even taking it seriously. He's doing another doing another General Lee. I think it's supposed to be a coffee table. I think. I don't know, but he certainly knows how to display his work in diorama form. I've even seen like N-scale model railroads coming up out of coffee tables.
Mm-hmm.
I think the point I'm trying to drive home today is that you can take a build very far.
Oh yeah, I mean, I seen a diorama of a sunk Titanic that was actually the coffee table. So the Titanic was underneath, and they actually had all the where it was all smashed up and everything, and it was on the sort of seabed. So that was all displayed like that, and then they actually had water over the top of it, and they were using it as a little aquarium that was under the coffee table.
Oh wow, that's cool.
So you'd actually look through the coffee table and see, and they were fishing there. I mean, you actually had like little goldfish, swimming around, and they were totally on scale. I mean, they would be the size of sharks. But I mean, like, you can't get scale fish.
Well, he just built his own scenery for his fish tank, is what you're saying.
Yeah, but it was a scale model of the Titanic, but it was in the sunken version.
Sunken version.
But he did it for his coffee table, and his coffee table was a glass top. And then you couldn't put your cup down on it without using a coaster, I suppose. But but no, it looked impressive. Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, he's worn. Yeah, George, he's worn out of all that wood cutting, and he's in that. I love you. I love you. Work to Carwin. I don't know. I think Ken has a crush on you.
It's mutual love. It's mutual love for Ken. There's nothing.
Oh, you mean he would love to work with you on a project.
I would love. Look, if I'm feeling better, I'll save some money. He's in Canada. I've got family in Canada. They're on the other side, but it doesn't matter. Right?
Well, it's not exactly Hong Kong, but it's not the UK either. So
anyways, better than you.
I don't know. Nova Scotia could be pretty rough.
The rough is good. I can cope with rough as long as it's not wet and cold. It'll be all right.
Oh, that's exactly what it is, actually.
I don't mind wet or cold. It's the wet and cold.
Bob Busking has also showed up. Lots of stuff on my Model Railroad YouTube channel, our YouTube channel. I guess that's Railroad.
Yeah.
I love his work too. Ha ha. He clarified it. I love to work. Come on over, he says. Yes. Maybe you should not go to Hong Kong.
I'd love to. Look, what we could do, see, is I could go there. Then let's see, we'd have to go from there then. I have to come down to Pittsburgh, because obviously, there's people in Pittsburgh that I'd like to see. And Jackson as well.
At Jim's, we could meet in the middle at Jim's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I gotta get a passport though, just to drive across the border though. I haven't gotten a passport yet, but I plan on getting one soon. Because did you know
I could do an ASM road trip?
Did you know I've already met Christina in person?
Yes, I did. I saw the pictures, and I was chatting with Christine as well when she sat there.
We had breakfast. I probably spent maybe an hour and a half, a couple hours. We had breakfast together. She was on her way through town because a friend of hers who lives in Jersey was picking up his son in the state of Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
I think either from summer I think it was from summer vacation, because he goes to school in Jersey, but he spends his summers in Indiana with his mother. So she was on that road trip, and she was just fascinated going through Pittsburgh. She said, it's hilly. Oh, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. You did a video one time. You took a walk up to the hills where you live, and I just thought the Welsh countryside was fascinating.
Well, I mean, it depends on where you are, because there's a lot of green.
Right.
And you know, it's there's a, you know, I live in a ditch, right? It's a big ditch.
I do too. I live in one of those ditches in Pittsburgh.
So, why we didn't figure out putting the houses on the tops? I have no idea. I can't work that out.
The graveyards are on top.
Well, yeah, but we look at the view. What are we looking at? A big sheet of rock that side, a big sheet of rock that side. Wait for him to I can see stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, now that the house is gone, I am looking forward. And next person I'm going to meet is actually Lou. We're going to Wonder. He goes to Wonderfest every year. Now I can go, and I can hardly wait actually.
But I think. I honestly, I think we should do an ASM modelers meetup, or maybe we'll do one in the UK and do one in the US or wherever. We won't do one in Australia because there's no point because there's only Heath there.
Karen,
hello.
Have you totally stopped production on that huge TOS shuttle?
Have I?
You said you were going to do it into production. That huge.
Right. Yeah. Right. We were talking about that earlier on this evening. The problems I've got. Well, just go back and watch the video. It's there's complications. I would like to get on with them, like to get it done, but there are complications. So it's on pause.
Okay. I'm sure you will one day. It's nice to see you looking better, anyway.
I'm actually I'm not feeling too bad tonight. I'm gonna be in bed soon, so, but hopefully I'll be on the mend. So.
But you have been missed. I'll tell you that.
Oh, thank you, man. I've missed being here.
Yeah, certainly it has, and it's always been talked about having a ASM summit of sorts. If anything,
I think we got enough members that we could do an ASM modelers meetup.
One in the UK and one in North America.
Live on YouTube. We could get a place. We can set up the internet. We could have a big huge bash.
Yeah, and then we can always allow ourselves to be blackmailed. Yes, I see your point. But you know, I've had never, ever had any interest in taking a flight across the Atlantic. Europe interests me as much as going to visit Cleveland.
There's nothing to see here.
There's no reason for me to do it, but knowing yourself as well as Jamie and a bunch of like Randall and Liam, and it just seems like I'm getting more and more friends, internet friends that I feel close enough to say, hey, you know what? I think we can get along even in person. So I even said to Matt, I said, I think we should start saving our pennies to be able to at least take a trip to maybe Liverpool or even to Northern Ireland. I would go to. But I don't have any desire to go to London, but I do have a desire to go to Liverpool or that side of the UK.
Right, well, I mean, London's simple. Where if you go to London, you go to Trafalgar Square. Everything that you have ever seen on TV in London is within about 100 yards of you.
Yeah.
Like Big Ben is right there. The House of Parliament right there. Buckingham Palace is there. It looks bigger on TV, but if you're in Trafalgar Square, everything's within about 100 yards.
Well, everything in Europe and the UK is together in one place.
The only thing you're going to have to accept, Jack, is that if you do come to the UK, everything here is old as shit. I mean, we can't do new at all. The last time it was like 5,000 years ago.
I know you mean. Jack, I know what you're saying about meeting people in person, because I know it's only in this country. But I actually met John Petrie because he built me the base of my TOS, and I went to his house, and you know, I saw his refit in person instead of seeing it on the net, and I had a great time up there.
Yeah,
you know.
Well, I met Bernie. I met Bernie a couple of times. His wife does an awesome cup of coffee.
it's no. I mean, I don't think it's any different to us talking here, to actually meeting live. You know what I mean?
No.
But I think we could do. I'm surprised that we haven't already done an ASM
English
model show or model meetup.
Yeah.
I think we should. I think we should. I think we're at that point now whereby we could do it.
Enough of us in England to do it.
I think I think there's enough.
That's I think there's enough in England to do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's definitely enough in the US. So I think we could put something together, even if it's just you know, you to put together a little model show or something like that where you got a little bit of a meetup as well. It would be great. You could have a good time. You can chat about models. You can go to the pub in the evening. It'd be great.
Yeah.
Mm.
And again, we could record it or do a live stream or something like that, or do a live hangout with everybody at the meetup. It would be awesome. I'd be up for it anyway.
I've just got me. I was talking to her. I've been on the search for. Have you been watching the exploits of my TOS builds?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, you heard about my electrical disaster.
You're not very good with power, I've got to say, Jim. You're a nice lad, but when it comes to electricity,
I've finally realised that I can't put too many boards in one Starship because they just don't work together. So I'm doing my third attempt on the TOS. I managed to snag a reasonable priced old kit.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted the smooth saucer. I've got the right up to date lighting kit coming from Ralph, the one he's done with the very, very quiet motors. But I had an email from I was talking to a guy, and I've managed to snag the smooth saucer and the photo edge and the clear hangar bay and bridge for a very, very reasonable price from a guy in America, which I thought was great, you know. So I've virtually got all the kit now ready to attempt. Because the actual ship itself, when I finished it, was fantastic. It just didn't light up. But the money I pulled back from the model itself, it's managed to get me the stuff for the new TOS. So touch wood, it works.
I don't know what it would be like though, but if I were to make a trip, I'd pack 2 bags, one with kits in it, the other with my clothes.
Yes, Jack, you would. You don't have to have a really big bag though, Jack.
Everybody who I meet in the UK should make the requests under a reasonable level. Like, I'm not going to bring you a 350 kit, no way. So
I was thinking about 10 tosses, Jack. 14 refits.
Yeah,
I'm sure. I'm sure you would. But no, I really do. I really want to do that. I really, really want to do it. And I've had that thought in my mind and heart, I have to say, for the past couple of years, because, you know, you guys are great. Always willing and wanting to participate in everything that you offer. I learned so much from, and that's part of the reason why I started all this. So I got back into modeling, and I just want to be on a fast track of learning. And boy, did I learn a lot in the past 5 years. So it just became to term, and it was actually very interesting meeting Christina. She's truly British.
Oh yeah.
And it's just not these 2-dimensional faces on my screen. There's actually a person behind that.
You'd be shocked if it was a 2-dimensional face.
Yeah, seriously, you people actually exist. Oh, scary. But yeah, I think that I think that could become another, maybe perhaps tradition. I don't know. Just depends on who wants to host it and how many people can go to it, and within reason, because, you know.
Well, I think look, if we were to say, look, let's pick a date, let's look at, say, you know, late summer or something like that, state a place that everybody can make it to. I think we could organize a pretty good bash.
I wouldn't want to stay in places like London, New York, or anything like that. I would be willing to do Toronto because
I mean, like, you know,
nicer, you know.
the only time I go to London is to get on a plane to get away from London.
Yeah, but I would, like I said, I don't have any desire. My mom even asked me, "Wouldn't you want to go back to where, you know, to Eastern Europe, Hungary?" I have no desire, and she's like, "Well, you know the language, might as well."
I think
no desire.
Given where you are living right now, I think you'd probably be more suited to Cornwall. I think that would be definitely Cornwall.
Cornwall. You can always come here, Jack. We've got e-models.
I guess I got to be British to understand that.
No. I genuinely, I think you would. I genuinely think you'd go to Cornwall and you go, I can live here. It's
Cornwall. I've heard of it. I've heard of the guy.
I used to live in Devon, Jack.
Is it southern?
Yeah, it's the southern west part of England.
Yeah, Devon and Cornwall are virtually next door to each other.
I think you'd like it. I think you would. It's a more ruralized part of the UK.
Well, you know, Matt said that when he went to Paris for vacation many years ago, he spent several days in London. He was infatuated with the English countryside. If that's what you're talking about,
yeah,
the traditional sense of an English countryside, then you're right.
It's very traditionally English countryside.
Jack, you would love Devon and Cornwall. It's so lush green.
I think you would. I think you would.
Well, sure. We can talk more about this, and I really want to do this, but I wouldn't be this year. No, I would go far to say maybe next. In 2019, I think would be a good goal to do, whether it be in North America or England. I really wouldn't. I would see how many people are willing to commit to it.
That's what I mean. We'd have to pull something together, start pooling ideas now, and getting a good sort of temperature reading as to what people can do. I think it's viable. I think it's very viable.
So George, you're on the live chat. Where is it that you live? I know Ken is in Nova Scotia. I think it's Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
Is it Nova Scotia or was it Brunswick or Newfoundland or someplace?
I think he's in Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia. So I don't know. They're just talking away over there. They're actually talking about models. It's
ridiculous.
But you see, that's the whole thing. And I even asked Lou yesterday, is there anybody? It's funny. I asked him. I said, is there anybody going to be in Louisville, Kentucky for the Wonderfest? Somebody that I would know. And he's like, well, I don't know who you know. Like, okay, that's fair enough. I don't know much of anything, but he mentioned some of the industry people like he did the design for Voyager, even did Neil Wooding a design for his
Rick Sternbach.
Sternbach, yeah. Sternbach. Oh, you're next to Steubenville, George. Shoot, you're like 20 minutes away from me. Oh, down 2230. I'm in Steubenville. Oh gosh, Steubenville. For Steuben. He's in Newfoundland. He says he's not in Nova Scotia.
He's in Newfoundland. Okay.
Yeah.
Jack, I just thought you said I live in Stupidville.
Steubenville. Old man Steuben, I think, was an industrialist. I mean, a lot of the names around here were named after industrialists. Yeah, very close, George. 20, 30 minutes away. I can just hop on 2230 and be out there in 20 minutes, 30 minutes at most. If I go the speed limit, it'd be 30 minutes. Because in Pennsylvania, speed limit signs are only suggestions. We all know that. So going to other states is a little trepidous because well, you know what, when you travel to other places, you just do what other people do and you'll be fine. Do what the Romans do when in Rome, so to speak. But yeah, I do want that idea to come to fruition. And when you said you were going to Hong Kong, that was the first thought. Well, I'm not going to Hong Kong.
I never, ever, ever, ever planned on going to Hong Kong ever until I went there, and then it was like, I want to live here.
You know what? It's really funny. I love to travel. I love seeing new places, and I love to travel. But boy, the best thing about travel is coming home.
You see, now that's the best thing about traveling for me, is that I get to get away from here.
Well, here you go. George said Baron von Steuben, Revolutionary War general. That is correct. I knew I heard he was an industrialist. He was a general in the Revolutionary War. Sorry, that was a little diversion, a little distraction. But now, I think the only place that I went to, and I've been there not quite a handful of times, is the Smoky Mountains between Tennessee and North Carolina. Talk about hilly, but there's places that are rolling hills are pretty flat, rolling hills in that region of the country, but absolutely beautiful. I thought the West, the Rockies, and even California was beautiful. To me, they're just unique. And Hawaii, to me, was beautiful only because they're unique. Not what I'm used to, but the Smokies is what I'm used to, but better. And maybe Cornwall. Okay.
Yeah, no, I think you'd like Cornwall. You like a ride on a motorbike as well, don't you?
Well, you know, the problem I would have to go to England, I probably would not let myself drive because you guys drive on the wrong side of the road.
Oh, no, Jack, don't go down that road. We could have this debate all night.
Well, hey, it's you coming here to drive. I dare not even try. So I'd have to pay for my. What's that?
It's only like driving in France, America, isn't it?
Any of you drive?
Yeah. Well, they drive on the other side of the road in France, don't they?
Well, no, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, do you drive?
Yes, I drive.
Okay.
But we drive on the right side of the road.
No, it's the left side. It's the left side, not the right side. It's not the right side. You can never say it's the right side.
Well, the driver sits on the right side.
Yeah.
That's because you drive on the left.
Which is the right.
Anyhow, what does it? Let's see. Well, I'm taking notes here.
You don't drive on the right side of the road. They can't say aluminium. I mean, come on.
Yeah, and they don't even have the gearbox.
Aluminium is just it was a misspelling that got Americans to say aluminum.
Yeah.
It was a misspelling that did that, so you can't blame Americans for that.
Yeah, but you don't even have a gear stick in the right place.
Because somebody in England could not spell the word aluminium, so we say aluminum because of that.
We like our aluminum, don't we, Jack?
Yeah, we love our aluminum. And you know what? Even my can of shaving cream now has an aluminum bottom because it doesn't rust. Yeah, it's really funny because I was just noticing that the other morning. It was a couple of weeks ago. I was shaving, and I had this little I don't know, medallion type design at the bottom, and had a little arrow pointing down. And it says, "Now does it rust? Made of aluminum." It's like, well, that's true. These used to be made of steel, and the can is still made of steel. I don't know. They'll probably get that like electron thing. Maybe it's just building up rust inside it. Who knows? But corrosion. Maybe it'll just pops one of these days. Maybe it's not a good idea. But anyway, getting off the subject. So yeah, I'd like to maybe see Ken's process, and I would like to go around to see what other people's modeling processes are, and spend a day. Bullshit, and seeing what processes you all use, because videos lie, pictures lie.
Well, yeah. I lie. I don't even make models.
Not until you're the fly on the proverbial ceiling do you find out as to what people are really like.
Yeah, this haircut's digital, Jack.
What's that?
I said this haircut is digitized.
Yeah, well, you would probably take me to your barber and give me one of those. I used to wear cuts like that a lot.
I know.
I wore a cut like that for like 10 years. We call that high and tight.
Oh, we call it the flat top.
Oh, yeah, flat top. High and tight flat top. Yeah, there was a barber in town that did it. To keep up with it cost too much money.
I don't know. It's only not that much here. I've got a friend who's a barber. But it's the American. It's your fault I had this haircut. You know.
It's what?
It's you Americans that maybe have this haircut.
Well, yeah, it's a military haircut.
Yeah, no. Then at first I was I was quite young, and it was the first time Top Gun was released. I went to see Top Gun at the pictures, and I had this like part in here like this, the curtains.
Like I do.
Yeah, and I was watching Top Gun, and then Iceman came on with this cut, and I thought, that looks cool. I'm going to go and have that done. And you know, I must have spent, oh God, pounds and pounds on hair gel because my hair was flat, and it was like to get it to stand up. It took months and months and months to get it to stand up, and eventually it just grows this way now. After about 30 years,
it's not being weighted down. That's because you have thin hair.
Yeah,
is why it does that. But when I was in Columbus one time, Columbus, Ohio, and I had my hair cut to get adjusted, to get fixed, and the barber comes out with a comb about this wide with these prongs. It looked like a pitchfork almost. And he stuck that thing right there and went, and it was done.
Yeah. Well, the great thing about the English barbers, I actually go to an ex-army barber, and he does this, and I'm in the chair less than 5 minutes. He's cut that many they call it a crew cut in the army, but he's done that many of this type of haircut. It's like he's sitting in a chair and there's no flat cut, there's no comb. He just gets the clippers and goes zit 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 zit.
Right.
You're done.
Right.
You know,
yeah, a crew cut is pretty much the same length all the way around to us, but what that is a flat top. Yeah. High and tight flat top. And when you really get into the tightness, it really almost like a Herman Munster type of squaring off. Anyhow, we've got way off topic here. So you got to look good when you're building models, I'll tell you.
Oh,
We've talked about almost anything except models tonight. It's been great.
Actually, it's actually a nice relief because I thought, Jim and I, talked about it. He says, why don't we just talk about things that could possibly feed into scale modeling, like woodworking, 3D printing, what we can learn from model railroading, actually. There's a lot we can learn from it. That's why I
watch some of the machining channels and that.
And the machining channels, machining channels that give you ideas because it always comes back to me. It always comes back to me. And Dave is the inspiration to this. I got to admit, Dave from DJ Bottleworks, his dioramas are just spectacular.
Yeah.
When he describes, it's really funny because when I started to get to know him online, he was describing particularly the one on Hoth, the X-Wing on Hoth.
Yes.
He was describing, I'm like, whatever. Dagobah would have been better. He said, oh, everybody does Dagobah. I'm going to do Hoth. I'm like, okay. And it turned out that I was wrong, and it was just as spectacular as he can do it. So he's got a good eye for something like that. He thinks like a painter.
I mean, it's definitely one of those things whereby it's how you express the idea. It's how you execute it and how you decide on what you're going to present, the subject matter. I mean, it's everybody does Star Wars ones. I've seen people do Star Wars dioramas. I saw one do they had a Darth Vader diorama, and I thought, okay, so it was going to be like a Darth Vader diorama, and it's just going to be, you know, the Tantive 4, something like that. But actually, the diorama he did was Darth and Luke from Return of the Jedi. You know that scene where they're leaning against the railing in Return of the Jedi, where he's talking to him in Endor Forest?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, just as he gets off the transport, yeah? But when he does the whole bit where he goes, oh, you're constructing a new lightsaber. It was that. It was before. It was that moment before he takes him to the Emperor.
Yeah.
I was like, I've never seen anybody do that with Darth Vader. They normally do. If you've got a Darth Vader figure, it's normally on the Tantive 4 or the Emperor's throne room or something. This was totally out of, just out of left field, but it looked so good because it had the walkway going that way. You had the centerpiece for the elevator. You had Darth and Luke there, and it was so refreshing to see.
Yeah, certainly, certainly. And Dirk has been posting some pictures too of Builder Unknown. It's like I don't know. I think it's a little fishy. But this is something that I thought was very interesting. It's a stand and a diorama, and talk about. Oop, it was there. Hold on. It was coming up. It's a stand, but yet it's a diorama. I actually thought this thing was flying when I saw this.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah, I like how you've done the missile. That's quite good.
No, is that painted or printed?
That's a good question. I'm not. That's
it's impressive either way, but I mean, it's
You know, I'm sure somebody who does printing can probably pull that off.
You could probably do that. You could do that off of, with a blur function on.
Yeah, you can use motion blur.
Photoshop.
Yeah, but you know, if it's still very clever either way.
Yeah, and there was also I made mention of I wanted to do the space shuttle, and Bob posted a stand display case diorama of the space shuttle. Let's see if I can. Is that coming up?
Yeah, we can see that.
You mean the one that's blasting off into space?
I don't think.
Ooh, UFO.
He posted the space shuttle. This is what I wanted to build. I had this kit, and it got totally destroyed. When I saw that kit, I saw him build it, and I saw it. I said, I want to build that too. And it got buried under a bunch of junk. I stopped working on it, got under junk, and it got broken up really bad.
How big is that kit, Jack?
It is a kit, yes.
So how big is it?
It's a 1/44 scale. I think the wingspan of that would have been at least 25 inches of the Boeing 747. It's a pretty decent, wow. There's Christina's commercial jet.
Yeah.
There. Okay, I'm gone too far.
Build it again.
Yeah, I'm gone too far. It is on Facebook. This is the thing I don't like about Facebook. You could go through the entire thread to find something. Is it here?
Thought maybe I seen it on the way down.
Did you?
Yeah, but it was only a small picture on the display. Going.
You know what? I think it's on Google Plus.
Yeah, it's definitely on the Google Plus page, Jeff.
There it is, right there. It's a video. Yeah, this Dave, funny. He showed us a picture of his workshop right here, and then he did something stupid and he cleaned it up. I have to say, now it looks like you don't do any work. I don't know. Mine's always a mess. That's why I'm just being jealous. Yeah, it's a video. It wasn't even a picture. This thing comes with sound. I don't know. Can you? Oh, gee, I pushed the wrong thing again. Son of a gun. Come on. Escape. Oh, he's doing the wrong thing. Well, I guess this is how it's going to work. Is this showing up bigger?
No, it's showing it as the shrunk
There it
version.
is. That's big.
Yeah.
Yes, with the boosters and that, and he's.
Yeah, it's quite cool, isn't it?
That's cool. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
It's not getting very far, is it?
He's got a Fender speaker there.
Fender amplifier. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's the sound, all right.
Yeah, that is very cool.
Yeah, it takes the corner of your house up.
So I went to see the actual launches on YouTube. And he's got a lot of smoke there, I have to say. That's right at the point lifting off of the launch pad.
Yeah.
Is what that's depicting right there. My thinking was like something floor to ceiling. My kit's not that big. I think that's a 72 scale. I think that's a 72 scale.
Yeah.
At least I'm hoping it is. But I wanted something more in a sense of floor to ceiling. And with the launch, the glowing exhaust is quite long and pretty solid, you know. And then at some point, it just feathers out into like a deep smoke, and that's not lit. The shuttle's exhaust was pretty clear, even more clear than a fighter jet, which
That's
can be.
That's because the liquid fuel burns cleaner than the solid fuel, and a lot of smoke came out of the solid fuel boosters on the side.
Right. That's what I figured. But I don't know. I want to build like I got a Falcon, like a F-16 and F-14. that I want to build up, especially the Tomcat, the F-14. I want to build that up lit, with the instrument panel lit as well as the exhaust. Got to figure these things out, but when I do, I'll let you know. Anyhow, we spent a lot of time hanging out, over 2 hours, talking about nothing. Got away from the actual hardcore scale modeling stuff.
Yeah.
But at least some of this stuff can be used. Look at this. Keith just shows up towards the end. How you doing, Keith?
Howdy.
You've been trying to call us. I got your call like 3 hours after the fact yesterday. Would have liked to hang out with you, but I got to close up the show. We've been here for 2 hours. And I'd like to thank you all, especially Carwin. Good to see you're doing somewhat better for tonight anyway. And get rest. I think rest and good humor. And that good humor is always on your side, but get some rest. And maybe, I don't know what coffee does to you. It drives me crazy sometimes if I drink too much of it.
It's kept me awake for us to get through this hangout.
Okay, now go to bed. Get some rest. And thanks, Dave. Haven't seen you in a while. Thanks for sharing your locomotive and what you have both had to say about 3D printing and what you're doing in scale modeling, aside from what would be considered hardcore scale modeling. And thanks, Jim, for stopping by too.
Oh, you're welcome.
Give me the idea. And Jamie. Oh, I thought you had an empty chair there, or you fell asleep. One of the two.
Oh, I never fall asleep on these Hangouts.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. And Keith, thank you for stopping by. We're going to hang out some more. We're not all going to leave at the same time. And I want to thank those at the live chat. That would be John Paul showed up, George, Ken Skiffington showed up, and I do believe even Bob stopped by too. Yeah, Bob Busking stopped by too in the live hangout. And thanks for yeah, we got to put it out there to the community. Who wants to see our ugly mugs? Great show as usual, Jack. Thanks, George, for thinking so. And you are now anointed as the mayor of the live chat. So
some people can just continuously lie through their teeth, though, can't I?
I think George is a very nice guy. That's because he knows how to brown nose.
Yeah. That's what you do, George.
And in fact, his letter G comes in brown, so that's why I brought that up on the chat. So anyhow, thank you for everybody in the community for putting up with us and me and everybody here, you know, tonight and talking about stuff that really doesn't have too close ties to scale modeling, but maybe inspire some ideas or watch more YouTube. Like I said, I need a life. And also, we'll be back a couple of weeks later for the Across the Pond. And we also have the Sunday Hangout exactly a couple of weeks from today. We'll just continue the conversation and the talk show we know as the ASM Hangouts. We do just want a reminder that we do have community builds. It's real space, as you probably guessed. It's wood build. In fact, I bought, look at what I bought. At Walmart, some foam to do my wood build because you got to pin down your wood parts, I guess. That's what I was told. And we'll work. And plus, I got to make a tombstone for work. It's a long story. But anyway,
yeah.
Also, what is it? Nautical, real space, and wood build. Yes.
Yeah.
Those are our community builds. So please participate, build models, and post often. And comment and like often, Google plus and comment often. Your participation is why we have the communities. Thank you and happy scale modeling, everybody. Good night.
Good night.